Good evening, folks. Welcome to another session from the Wise Asylum. Oh dear, said you miss Al's vagina and his little lapdog have been over there. Uncle Joe, can we send some bigger fireworks over to him, lad? Please. Uncle Joe said no. So they're not really happy there. They've not got bigger fireworks to go and play with. So you're safe for a bit yet. However, I don't even think that Russia's the gig. I think it's a diversion, to be honest. I think the real gig and what they don't want you looking at is what them little small lads are doing over there in the Middle East. Getting ready to attack Iran, methinks. Ooh, I reckon that's what's afoot. They've got to get rid of the white males. They've got to get them all joined up, conscripted. So all you fleabag females and women. These females I feel sorry for. I'm not really bothered about the women. They're all crazy anyway, but what you're going to have to deal with. All these fruit bats that want to rape you and beat you up on the street and all that malarkey. Oh, what fun it is. And they're all out on protesting. We love refugees, let them come in, we love them. We love them, let them come, you dumbasses. Anyway. So that's basically about all that's of interest anyway that's going on in La La Land, let's be honest. Apart from the fact that they're trying to kill pensioners again, just by a different method this time. Heck, what a mess. Isn't it? Just a right mess. But what can you expect from the Bolsheviks? I mean, let's look back to 1989 and everyone's hip hooray, the fucking wall's coming down in Berlin. Yeah, you never thought for a second, did you, that you were unleashing the fucking Bolsheviks from Russia all over Europe? Honestly, you look back and it's just thick. You know, you look back at all this, what happened? Everybody would think, oh my God, look what happened there. Everybody would think. It's just thick. Thick everywhere. Thick and more thick. I don't know. But of course, in the wise asylum, we're all waking up. We know the crack. Because we know the crack, don't we? We're not stupid like La La Land. Anyway, that's about enough of that nonsense. We don't really need to speak about the fruitcakes. There's plenty of them around, and yeah. Anyway, tonight, what are we going to do tonight? Well, it's important because you've heard me talk about ecclesiastical. We touched on it the other week. I just briefed you into it slightly, but tonight we're going to go into a bit more depth about what the hell is going on out with the Nicanor estates. Who's running the shop? And is there a major division between the Vatican and the Church? Because I'd say there is. Massive, completely different operations, completely. Whether it's been so forever, I don't know, but my guess is it has. That's my guess. It's always been completely separate things, and faithful didn't recognise it until about the 1970s when they all started to leave. So, if you class yourself as a follower of the man, regardless of what denomination you've had labelled on you, you really need to start to get to grips with this, because this is what's going on, this is what's happening, this is what they've done, this is what they're doing, and they want to shove you all in a new ark called an overhide. It's not good. There's a massive dream team out there making sure that nobody out there gets to see this stuff. You're all dancing to the La La Land that they're telling you something, it's important, but they're telling you what you already know and keeping you on what you already know and making sure they keep it busy enough, you're entertained enough, arresting these, we're arresting them, oh, feel sorry for them, blah, 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 look what's happening. Just keeping your attention so that you don't actually see what's really afoot and really going on out there in the big wide world. I don't know. What can we say? Lunacy. Lunacy, I tell thee. So, interesting tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are, as we all are, seeking a remedy through the law, first you have to understand it, the position, and then you can start to unwind it. So, that is what we're going to deal with tonight. And it's very, very, very important, especially if you want to fully understand what comes before Yamamoto. Because it's one thing to do Battle of the Apple Tree, but of course you're dealing with fruitcakes. You've got to get right back up there in the top, because they did release a motto proprio some years ago saying, you judges, you fleabags, you're on your own in the ecclesiastical. Beware. So the aim of this would be, of course, then, when you're doing your paperwork, when you are rebutting this stuff, that instead of just rebutting it at the level of the legal and even the common, you want to be installing little bits that you can certainly understand the ecclesiastical. Now, so as I've been doing this case that we're going on for like 6 months now, I keep changing the definition of the addressor, which is the ones addressing the addressee or whomever it is you're addressing. You've seen that when I presented the the statutory declarations that I put on the website. I'll put a copy of them up after. But having said that, it changed so much, it's probably wise I don't encourage you to necessarily follow that. Although it has value, don't get me wrong, and there's nothing wrong with them, but of course we've expanded it. And I think to really gain that power of knowledge that you're showing that you know that little bit more, then adding a certain few terms to the definition of who you are is probably a good thing, because it's showing you. Of course, it's no good just writing it if you don't understand it, because obviously they'll pull it to pieces. But tonight should give you a solid knowledge of exactly what it is that we're dealing with when it comes to why we're trapped, how we're trapped, and just how they've done it. And as I've said, if you follow these live streams for some time, you're already going to be aware of most of the points. But tonight there are some very important issues, because of course we all know, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter who you are, the whole system is based in the Bible. All of it, whether we like it or not. The system that we all run under is formed from the Bible. But of course there's the mimic, which is what Satan does. He mimics the creation, turns it asunder, and gets people to follow it by offering pets means prizes or funny money. And how many people fall for that? Well, there you go. That's what they do. That's why we're in the mess. That's why all these nutties that run our state have been trapped on an oath to a guy who parades himself as the king when he no such thing. He's King of Scotland. He's not the King of England. And his wife, his fancy wifey there, is a Medici queen. So that's the Holy See right slap bang in the centre of it. And of course, everything works for the Holy See families. They are the banking dynasties, the administrators of which are the Rothschilds or the Red Shield. And that's all they are, court financiers, or if you're looking in trust law, they're the trustees of this new trust. The new ship called the Noahide Ark, run by the small lads. So, yeah, there's going to be things you've seen, things you've heard, things you know. But it just expands it a little bit more to help you cement and understand fully what it is they're doing and what it is these... I've been talking about for this many years now. Either and everywhere, in bits and parts. And hopefully, you get into a point where you can really see and grasp the metal, so to speak. Right, so who's joined us? Because we might as well just crack on and get in with it. There's no point talking about La La Land. I will say this, though, we're thinking. So over the last few weeks, I've noted the degree to which people don't believe that they're actually divided in their own house, i.e. their own being. But they are. Now, so Twitter is a prime example. So, for instance, being a seeker, as I am, I'm not fixed at any side or one over the other. I'm just there to present bad behaviour. I don't particularly care where it's coming from. If it's bad behaviour, I'll present it. So on the Twitter, what I noticed is, so perhaps in a week there's more data about Israel. So I'll show and present the bad behaviour of those that control Israel. And you'll gain 20 or so followers. Oh, look, this guy's on side. And then the next week, it may be there's more coming out about Islam, the other deceptive cult that's trying to take over everywhere. And you'll start putting that up, and then you lose about 20 followers. And it's like, it's no wonder nobody gets anywhere, because they're all fixed to a side, and they're like, oh, he's saying this about me, I can't do that. And it's just so ridiculous that people, they wish and want to know, they want to fight, they want to do what's right, yet you're so divided in yourself. It's just ridiculous. And then, of course, I noticed on the YouTube, once I started to present the fact that there's a major rebellion going on amongst the Catholics, a rebellion against the Vatican, so many people were like, we're not playing out with him anymore, he's blah, blah, blah. You're so divided in yourself that you can't see your ass for toilet paper. And I'm telling you, it's so pathetic. And I know you don't realise it, it's just who you are. But you are divided in yourself, and that's why you're all over it shop, because you're not seeing that the fact is there's bad behaviour coming from every orifice, or from all over the show. And if you're going to fix to one section and say, oh, this is okay because they're on my side, then all you're promoting is bad behaviour. It's one thing to say, well, they're doing naughty things, but we're doing the same, but it's all right. You know, look at the conflict of the psyche in that train of thought. Because that is really what's going on everywhere. And this is why we're in such a mess. Everybody's running around house divided. And until you start to recognise that if you're seeking the truth, you can't start to edit if something's coming forward that actually, oh my God, I don't like that. That's not seeking the truth, is it? All right? It's playing from one side to another. And all you're doing is bolstering each side, and it takes two sides to go to war, as Frankie Goes to Hollywood told us in them dirty, dirty songs back in the 80s. They're really good songs, though. Good rhythms, but felt all the same. But basically, that's where everybody's at. You know, they're up and down with this, but you're divided in yourself. Right, your core. You know, it ain't going to get you nowhere. And that's the end of the Sunday sermon as far as behaviour goes. So we're on best behaviour today. No detentions. And we won't be issuing any lines. We're all going to be good today. Who's joined us? So we've got... So Mew gives it hello there. Is anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me. I can hear you. Evening, Mew. Benefactor says another week has passed. And as usual, the Sunday live show remains a must watch. A big hello to Shawnee Boy and all the fellow inmates tuning in. Evening to you, Benefactor. Mark Orford says, I am, and a smiley gig. He says, evening, Sean and all. Good evening to you, Mark. Good to know, Mark. And the laughing gig's on. PY Music says, good evening, all. Good evening to you, Paul. How are you doing, me old China? I've not seen you for a while. Have you got your teeth yet? Huh? Have you got them? And Lex says, evening Sean and all. Evening to you, Lex. Lorraine, evening everyone, and I love it. Good evening to you, Lorraine. I thought you'd appreciate that, Mew. Okay. Slipknot says, right, Sean, Jacqueline and everybody. Good evening to you, Slipknot. Good evening to you, Jacqueline. June says, good evening, Sean and all the panel. The panel, okay. Hello to you, June. Weefy Man says, my fellow landwalkers, evening. Good evening to you, Weefy Man. Landwalkers we are. No matter how much they try and drag us off into the sea and drown us. Where are we? Evening, Sean, says Lorraine. Good evening to you, Lorraine. Jerry Sonamic says, I, Sean, and all in the Wise Asylum. Bullseye. Well, a good evening to you, Jerry. Big E, evening inmates. Hope everything is well with all of you and you're good on your E. It's Sunday. You don't have to sit there waiting for 24 hours. Evening to you, Big E. Paul says, good evening, Sean and fellow inmates. Good evening to you, Paul. Kieran Martin, Sean, Jerry and nobody else, hello. All right, well done. And we've got the old 4-leaf clovers. Well done to you. Nice one, Kieran. How's it going on over there in Ireland? I think I'm noticing there's a bit of the old mindset coming back in now you're dealing with these freak bats. I like it. Fat Henry UK, good evening, folks. Good evening, Fat Henry. Is this a first message from thee? Good evening, sir. Mew, good morning, afternoon, evening, and one and all, do Sean and the usual crew. You've said that once, Mew. Twilight Zone. Where are we there? Lorraine says, just hit the like button. Oh yeah, get that button in. I've got one on here. What's playing? What are you playing at here? There's one. One like. Outrageous, lawyer. Outrageous. 35 watching, please press the like button. Right, I want to see 80. Because you keep pressing it. Can you not do that? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there's only one. I'm ashamed of a lot of you. Thanks, Lorraine. They're not listening to you. They're useless. Thumbs up, says Lorraine. Jerry son of Mick. Kieran brother. Okay. Phil. Comfortably dumb. Good evening, Sean and chat. Well, hello to you, Phil. Good evening, Sean, says Lorraine, with a love heart. Good evening to you, Lorraine. And a big love heart back. Sheep Farm Studios. Oh, interesting. Hi all, thought I'd pop in and say hello. Well done for you coming in and say hello. Sheep Farm Studios, we like that. What do you do? What studios is that then, my good man? Or lady? Hi Dom and the sheep. Oh, Lorraine knows Dom. We've got plenty of sheep going on there. So I read something the other day that's by, I don't know, in 2039 they want to ban beef. They're closing Heathrow, Gatwick and Manchester airports. No beef and no lamb. No mutton. Now that's groovy, innit? That should tell Muslims something, shouldn't it? Because if you listen to the subtleties in last week's show, and there were many, the Kalergi plan doesn't say, and the plan is to have Pakistanis, Indians or Arab-looking people. Does it? It says Negroid Egyptian. Because of course they want to get Christians and Muslims to fight each other. So that there's no left, and there's only these fruit bats that have been pouring in from sub-Saharan Africa. The ones that like to masturbate all over it, shit and shat everywhere. Come on, what the fuck's going on with that? It's disgusting, to be honest. And you listen to Radio 1. Oh my God, the programming going on in that. I mean, the lyrics of the songs are so programming the kids. Like, one of them's... I can't remember the old lyric, but part of it is she's going out with a guy who's obviously come over and he's an insane idiot. And she's like, it's just your culture. Well, yeah, we're fucking English. In an English culture, if you're going to fuck around like that, you're going to get knocked out. That's English culture. That's our culture. So if you're going to parade your culture about as some kind of excuse as to why you want to bang 13-year-old girls and knock women out and shit like that. Sorry, mate, our culture said, bang, not happening. So if you're going to play your culture up, then fine. Ours beats you because you're on our land. And that's that. Right, so Mark says, blimey, it's Big Dom. So Big Dom is the farm boy. Nice one, Dom. Welcome. He's a good one, Sean, says Jerry. Good stuff. Kieran says, can't say it's good here, Sean, but most of us is still alive. Well, they're pushing the buttons, guys. They want civil unrest, remember that? So the Bolshevik freaks could go, see, told you they're all naughty, we need to start martial law. It's all going to martial law, chaps, that's what they're after. Don't give it up. If you're going to do stuff like that, do it secretly. Remember how it used to be. You see, the trouble is with these youngers today, they don't know their ass from their elbow. And Generation X, in my opinion, is so pathetic. It's quite frightening. They've really took on the baby boom mental, which is bad. So thanks for that, Kieran. Sheep Farm Studios, Lorraine and Mark. There is 18 likes, Sean. Welcome to the Wise Asylum. Dom, nice to see thee. Well, 18 is better than 1. And mine's only showing 1. I'd probably have to refresh it. Plenty of sheep here in Wales and small holdings to get lamb, etc. Groovy stuff. I like Wales. It's a beautiful place. Penny fan. Not the best of the mountains. It never ends, but it's a mountain. And you can run up and down it. And I have run up and down it, so I know what I'm on about. But like, Wales is a beautiful place. It really is. And I'm glad to know there's plenty of sheep. And there's still plenty of moo cows around as well, I notice. And but I've noticed a lot of farmers giving up and crying their eyes out. Well, there's just no fighting them. And I think, who was it? Jeremy Clarkson said something very interesting the other day, that apparently the government are on about stopping the subsidies. Good. That means there's no contract. You farmers can do what the fuck you want. You don't have to vaccinate your shit. Get death rate system. Get them out. They're the ones that have caused you all the problems. Mike Purdy told you about CJD, that they were putting organophosphates on the spines of all your cattle. That's what created CJD. TB and all the rest of it are being created through DEFRA and the vaccines and in the feed. So you got lazy. Now it's time to get off your asses and be farmers again and start employing white honkies to be farmhands. If you employ these subcultures, they'll be shagging your sheep, your cows, your chickens and your goats. We don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be buying meat that's got funny semen in its bottom, do we? You know what I'm saying, farmers? You've got to look after the customer, and we don't want any of that malarkey in our meat. It's bad enough that you've fed us with Defra's concoctions for, 20 years? So it's good. Collection, you're right. No contract. Not subsidising, no contract. Fuck off, government. Get back to farming, lads. Get the cattle that haven't been vaccinated fresh herds. That's why they did all this, that last thing, what were it? Foot and mouth. The herds they got rid of, the breeds they got rid of and put in Monsanto's genetically modified breeds. Where milk's not right anymore. More and more people are allergic to the milk because it's genetically modified cattle. I know some of you farmers have been smart out there and you've kept some original breeds and you've not stuck any needles in. Because you need to start again. And I'm not listening to you cry all scracking and moaning and bitching. Are you males, man, English? Right, well, crack on. You know, war mentality, back to that. Never mind all this mental illness shit. Fuck off. You men, you males, most of you are hardy as fuck anyway. You just turn into women for some strange reason. Get a grip. No contract. Take back your farms and farm how we know it should be done. And grow your crops without all that shit in it as well. Lay one fallow every 3 years like we used to. You don't need all that shit. And stop putting human shit on it and then telling us, oh, you're growing organic. We're not all stupid, you know. I don't want to eat organic food grown here that's been grown in human shit full of meds, piss, fucking cancer, God knows what else some of these baby boomers have picked up with all this poisoning they've done. Planet, well, it was their time. Come on, you know. No contract. Get back to farming. If people come on your land, shoot them. That's England, isn't it? Shoot the bastards. Don't fuck them out. So weird. Send drones over these planes, spray and shoot them. I mean, America, they can go in cameras and go, who's a helicopter? Shoot the damn thing. Blow it out to the sky, they won't do it again. I've asked Vlad twice now for a ground to air missile so we can hit these chemtrail things, but he's not even listening. Do you know why? Because he's a Bolshevik. If he were a good man, he'd be giving me ground to air missiles right now and we'd have shot down at least 10 of these already. But no, there's nothing coming back from Vlad because he's a Bolshevik. So that's it. Don't believe a word they say about Vlad the Impaler. He's not on your side. What's that? Plenty of sheep eating Wales. Sean, you should chat with Dom anytime. Anytime. I mean, I'll come up. I'd even come out there and we'd chat there. All of us. We can have a we could do the shroom sesh on the farm. How about that? Fat Henry UK says, not my first name. Here all the time. I've been for years now, but that's the first time anyone has seen my message. Thought it was shadow banned and my messages didn't get seen. Interesting development. Oh, well that's... I've got to be honest with you guys. It's like, we've got 2 mods. I'm pretty sure Paul wouldn't knock anybody off. I'm sure Gary wouldn't, or Jace rather. But 77 Brigade and Unit 8200 are all over everything I'm doing. So they're probably the ones. I mean, I've watched them this week take loads of views off last week's gig. So, you know, there's a major push to not let this show look like it's getting anywhere or people are interested or people give a shit. Because I'm not part of the dream team. And I'm not keeping you in on the shit that you already know. We're giving you the stuff that you don't know. But you need to know. The Lone Rizzler says, evening all, currently on the Black Mountain. A Manford Way. Oh, interesting. What's the weather like? Fat Henry says, I'm Sparky Lee's nephew, by the way. Hello there, Sparky Lee. I'm Fat Henry. You're more than welcome. It's good to see you. And I'm glad you're finally getting messages on. That's good. Mew says, first time I've seen your message. Yeah, I have to say me too. And obviously Lorraine knows Fat Henry, I think. That's good. Can't believe it. People can see my comments. Well, that's bloody good. Now, I've had a few people, actually, that have said that they can no longer comment. But it's been going on all the time. It's not new. It's always been the same. Jerry says, so long as you're good, Fat Henry, that's good, and the laughing gig on. We all have to check it, people can see my messages in live stream on other channels also. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Just check that they're not blocking you on your channel, and you know what I mean? That's another... Before we attack YouTube. But I don't think it's YouTube, it's the shitbags, the little twat faggots, you know, in these little military bases going, oh, he's banning him, it's bad. Yeah, okay, we're bad. All bloodlines, yes, says Jerry. The Lone Ridgeler, I am in a cloud, Sean, can't see shit. Rock and roll. But you can see this though, can't you? And hear us. Your lug holes are going well. So you're sat in a cloud. Is weather supposed to get nice next week? So somebody was telling me. Jerry says, hi Jace, hope you're well. Jace has not been lurking for a bit, or if he's lurking, we've not seen him. Mew says, I'll send you a link to Dom's Sheep Farm Studios. Yeah, nice one, Mew. Thanks very much for that. Right, so if there's any newbies on here and you've got flea bags, I'm just going to remind you something. Because it's on the table now, and them fruit bats at Davos, what do they call themselves? I forgot. We haven't spoken about them for ages. What do they call them? Dipsticks? World Economic Forum. The fruit bats at the forum have said we can expect some major disasters between now and November, so potentially they're going to try and stop this election in the US, although I very much doubt that, because it doesn't really matter who gets in America. The Holy See families win. So I want to remind you, the kids especially, if you've got kids, you need to just remind them. And of course, because everybody's banning it everywhere, I thought, fuck it. You can have a listen to this.
From their governments that there are heavy controls over travel, over communication, over people who meet, over people who protest in the streets, and because people will be driven into fear by this, they'll request and demand and insist on heavy controls from their governments, which will be justified. And this is where you're going to kind of get a martial law situation in all the Western countries.
think quite carefully about the description. Think quite carefully about the description. Think quite carefully about the description.
Say no.
If a white male goes to war, man goes to war, man goes to war. The women will be left to some cultures.
Think quite carefully about the description.
They simply say no. And that's what we all should do. Because this will end if we simply say no. They simply say no. And that's what we all should do. Because this will end if we simply say no. And that's what we're here to do today. They say no. And that's what we should do. Because this will end if we simply say no. No.
If a white male goes to war, man goes to war. Women will be left to some cultures.
And this is where you're going to kind of get a martial law situation in all Western countries. And then, he said, then the real war starts.
Now, I didn't think that through right well, as I noticed. I'd kicked that mic off because I didn't realise it. Hang on, what's going on? Wait! Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I forgot it runs through. I didn't think that through very well, chaps, to be fair. I don't know where that's ended, but I usually put it through machine, it sounds a lot better. So I don't know what quality we're on that at all, but my guess is because it was coming through mic, you're probably not as good. So sorry about that, I'm going to have to rethink that. But never mind. So let me know, Paul, what quality of that? Because I reckon it probably weren't that good. So I'll just run through who's joined us since that bit, and then we'll crack on with what it is we want to be looking at today. So Kerry says, love from Ireland. Good, love back to you, Kerry. Hello, and how are you? E.B. Lurkin, Sean, and I take it that's about Jace, yeah. Lex Smart, WF, that's it. Mike says, it was a good chat with Yeed and Dom. Alexander Milicevic. Evening, Sean. Evening to all. My Google account is hacked. I can just comment live. Interesting. They seem to be doing a lot to people's accounts to stop them commenting, I've noted. So then you'll complain about the old sound gone. That was my fault. I didn't really give that much thought, actually. Grooving to the music. No, I just thought you didn't need to look at my ugly mug while you were watching. Listening to that. So, dancing in my van. Obviously. Kieran says, throwing the darts, cardboard box. He's not been abducted by aliens, has he? Not lately. No, I haven't. His pillows kicked in, says Paul. Oh, yeah. Big E, good old Christina, German worth her salt. Exactly. And she's on that tune. A good woman, that. She don't muck about. Where are we there? Gone for a piss, probably, where much of the Dom's Vitsi I gave him BTL. Yeah. Jerry Son of Mick, big fish, little fish, catch the stars. Probably gone down the pub for a pint and left us here stranded. Definitely not. 7 minutes this track, yeah. Have we landed? Go on, Sean, one more tune. You want another tune? Well, I can give you another tune if you want. All right. You asked for it.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because if where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running now. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me.
I've come to this house of the people to speak to you and all Americans.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running now. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind, peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running now. You ready? You ready? You You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
You ready? You ready? Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission.
Thanks for that. Can't even, God, I'm not doing right well tonight, am I? Good gracious, I'm terrible. So there's all the bad uns that you've just seen. All the bad uns they don't want you to see. And you only see the old Rothschilds, the red shield. Thanks for that, chaps. Honestly, I'm not performing right well tonight, am I, to be fair? Anyway, there we go. So there's the bad uns they don't want you to see, but of course the real bad uns are the leaders of each of those families that you don't get to see. So my apologies for those cock-ups. Well, yeah, I've no excuse really, to be honest. It's just I'm shit tonight, but never mind. So this is what we need to be looking at now, because this is the essence of exactly what's gone on. And of course, this is all being administered by the Vatican corporate state, the CEO of which would be Francis, claiming to be a pope. So this is why you've got this rebellion amongst the Catholic faithful. And even they didn't know about this. Nobody knows about this. This is what needs to be known. This is what's been going on. And the families you've just seen are the beneficiaries of this system, though they want you to see it as the small hats as beneficiaries. They're just the minions working for the big cheeses. You know, as Abe Finkelstein said, they are wholesale. That doesn't mean the source of the products. No, something else is above that. They're just selling it wholesale. So there you go. You get to see that that's not, that the top of the tree is not. But they're allowing their system to rule supreme because it's a sick system. You know, the elites are not any religion over another. They control everything. Religions are useful to these people. And that's exactly how the game works. So, for one is your father. Okay. And there you have a little picture of some jolly old folks way back in the day. Now, have we not all one Father? No one is more sovereign than the Creator of mankind. How does God the Father appoint the ruling powers over men so they may exercise authority? To understand the present, it is often required to look into the past. Man was not given dominion over other men by God. Now, you know me, I don't like that word God because it's ambiguous. It's ambiguous, let's say. Man cannot acquire righteous dominion by force. Yet, by consent, we may give ourselves into subjection. Is verbal consent the only way we may be subjected to those who are exercising authority? If we take from or damage others, we may incur an obligation to make amends. If we refuse to pay for what we have damaged or taken, it is reasonable to compel recompense, and that, of course, is the basic of common law. Besides these two reasonable ways of creating and subjugating authority over our bodies and even our minds, there is still another system clearly sanctioned and even promoted by God the Father in heaven. Is it? Have we not all one Father? Have not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our fathers? And that's Malachi 2:10. The Anu Itishu was the ancient equivalent of the modern words and phrases expressing the law and part of an ancient code preserving the Sumerian family laws. Not only is the first government based on the family and ordained by God, but all government is based on the precepts of what a family is or should be, according to these Sumerian family laws. The family is also the first government in life of the child, with the father as the God-ordained head of the household and his government under God as the child's basic government. In the great domestic relationship of husband and wife, the natural law and its creator provide a father and mother to have and to hold dominion and custody of their children and heirs. The family was God's sanctioned government. So we can see why the usurpers have done everything to destroy the family, or at least encouraged you to destroy your family. Does the church take the role of the world father, and as such controls and holds the father's surname? You're damn right it does. Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is CCC, is 333. Now, we presented this the other week just to give you an heads up on where we're going to move this stuff. So, in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 2270, it says, human life must be respected and protected absolutely from the moment of conception. From the first moment of his existence, a human being must be recognised as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. And that's page 547. CCC 2273 says, the inalienable right to life of every innocent human individual is a constitutive element of society, civil society, and its legislation. CCC 2274. Prenatal diagnosis is morally licit if it respects the life and integrity of the embryo and the human fetus, and is directed towards its safeguarding or healing as an individual. So basically what this Catechism of the Catholic Church is describing is that in its entirety it controls a concept not begotten by the Heavenly Father, which is man, but by a construct or concept they call the human, which is a shade of man. Hue means shade of man. So it's a shade of man. So they're letting you know that they have created a concept that they class as a lesser example or expression of man, and therefore gives them the rights, because once they've afforded the label human, you class as in sin. Okay? And they take control. Full control of this concept. It's very important that we get this, because this Catechism of the Catholic Church isn't something that was written 1,000 years ago in its current form. This is something that's updated as and when. So as the church changes, i.e. depending on which creature the Holy See families have put in as Pope, so too does the Catechism of the Catholic Church change in accordance with whatever it is that Pope is going to carry out. And that's an important concept to grasp. And of course we know that since at least 1825, this new gig, so this is after the Napoleonic Wars, this is after the Red Shield have taken over the monarchy, started to breed the English monarch's offspring, taken over the stock market, and started to shove itself across English government, in the English Parliament, and encouraging the aristocracy to come join the small hat brigade. Okay, so that's what we have to start to recognise in this. Now, I don't know when they've changed this catechism to this status, but the term human is a new concept. It's not, it's not something that's been there in the life of the church, as it were. And that's an important thing to recognise. Now, I've given you this before, haven't I? I'll just give you a quick backdrop. From 1860s, there was a massive influx of Russian pogrom Khazars into England and into America. Massive massive influx. It scared the living daylights out of the Jews that had assimilated in England and also in America. This influx was stopped by an Act of Parliament in 1915. It took an Act of Parliament to actually stop the influx. It was so ridiculous. Now, bear in mind, 1915 is 1 year into the First World War. 1913, the Red Shield had managed to secure the Federal Reserve in America. Then they commenced the First World War. And by the end of 1914, so we're looking at 1915, millions of Englishmen had been slaughtered. Millions of Germans, French, Dutch, etc. slaughtered in this First World War. Now, previous to the First World War, Edward VII had sanctioned Lord Kitchener, who's the guy you see on the old thing, is your country needs you, to change the mandate of Freemasonry. He changed the mandate of Freemason from the upholding of England against the Holy See to the then coming idea that was Israel. So Freemasonry from that point shifted from upholding England and therefore the Protestant religion and was shifted entirely into this new gig called Israel. Now, First World War ended, most of our males had gone, the lodges became filled with these Khazarian immigrants. They took the lodges, the Grand Masters became these people, they became the aristocrats, and they began to shove the Schofield Bible across the American Ivy League students because, of course, they weren't getting anywhere with the Schofield Bible on England. They weren't getting anywhere. The clergy weren't having it. The aristocracy here weren't having it. So they built the Cecil Hotel in London and invited for many years all the Ivy League and other high-level students from across America to come through the Cecil Hotel to be brainwashed by this new Freemasonry and the Schofield Bible shoved down their neck. Now, bearing in mind also, as the turn of the century, 1900, the Zionists, Theodore Herzl, had gone to the Pope, which was Pope Pius X then, what I'd class as a real Pope in sync with the doctrines of the man. And they was asked, will you bless the wholesale takeover by those Khazars of Israel, or Palestine as it was? He said, kiss my ass, or words to that effect. Of course, he didn't say that because he was a Pope. And he just said, no, we don't mind you visiting, but we can't bless your move to take it over wholesale. Now, that shows a distinction, does it not, between the Church and the Holy See families, the Vatican state, which at the time had not yet come into form. So the Catholics said no. They had to go to the Protestants because the Jews weren't enough in number to get this move going. So they needed Christians on side. So they went first to the English Protestants who said, no, thank you very much. We're not stupid. And this is why they built the Cecil and then brainwashed the young American students. That worked. Now, by the 1920s, the lodges are filled with these Khazarians. The Grand Masters are all Khazarians. They moved to debauch the aristocracy. They merged swing and the blues and created jazz. Then they had a method by which they could entertain the aristocracy and debauch them. So cocaine, all these drugs that we all think are new today were thrust upon the aristocracy, and through the roaring 20s into the mid-30s, they managed to debauch a big majority of the aristocracy by expressing to them the fact that most of them were actually bastard children of Charles II and therefore actually of the Medici bloodline. And that pulled the aristocracy over to the cause of the Schofield Bible. However, the clergy of the Church of England still were having none of it. And the House of Lords then became a major problem for this system. Now, Second World War came about, whereby a war cabinet was created, which had been created before the First World War, and had basically taken over the governance of Great Britain. So it was the war cabinet that was running the government in London. And of course, the war cabinet was made up of the Milner Group, the Cecil Rhodes Group, which had created the Round Table. Again, Rothschild money, Rothschild controlled. This is where you get your Rhodes scholarships from. So they created this new system in the background. All your societies that you've heard of, like the Hellfire Club and such, were all party to this new gig. So was the idea of evolution. The Royal Society was involved, so they were starting to form the pseudo-science. They'd started off with the shots, medical shots, also in the late 1800s. And big time went again through the First World War, as well as introduced in radar. Another major thing that hit the human body in a manner that they covered up by saying it was the Spanish flu. So we're up to the Second World War. A big chunk of the aristocracy have been debauched and come on side to the Medici. The clergy and the lords were a problem. But through the war cabinet that had been created through the Milner Group, which were unelected strange people, all on side with the Dangor and the Sassoon and the Rothschilds and the others, they were starting to control the whole gig because they completely controlled the government through being the war cabinet. And of course everybody was in war mode, and so you handed over the sort of leaves of power to these people that were so-called expert in war, because of course they were kicking them off. They were controlling both sides. Now, the Second World War came about. Before the Second World War came about, 1933, and we had all the changes to the finance. We came off the gold standard. They floated the birth certificates on the stock market, and we became the collateral instead of gold. So we became tradable products. Okay? Now, they set up what was the social system between 1933 and 1939, and they had the Second World War, and then as soon as the Second World War ended, Attlee completely and utterly launched this Bolshevik social system. So that included the NHS and everything that goes with it. And because, of course, you'd just come off a war, people had actually completely forgot what were going on before the war, i.e. all the changes in relation to finance and the way that the people were being treated, and just accepted this new, what looked like a benevolent sort of system, and picked it up. And there you get your baby boomers. That's what the baby boomers were brought up with, mollycoddled nanny state. And then you move on through the 60s. Now, by the time you get to this, you'd probably got one or two of the Church of England clergy moving in sync with the Schofield Bible. But of course, then they needed to launch something severe on the masses, and then of course they did. Rock and roll, LSD, okay, and whiz, speed. That's what they launched on the baby boomers during the 50s and the 60s. And that then changed the entire social system and completely and utterly began the march to A, stopping you procreating your race through promoting free love, contraception, abortion, and homosexuality. And of course, that was creating problems that wouldn't show themselves until perhaps 20 years later, when my generation got to the 1980s and we were in our teens, and divorce became the major thing as families started to realise that half of the kids weren't theirs because of the free love and blah-de-blah-de-blah. So the 1980s was the real point at which we saw the end of the moves to demolish the family in the West. And it's been going on happily ever since. So as we saw there, ordained from the Heavenly Father, the family is the first point of everything. naturally then, the ones that are undermining that system have to move to destroy it, or more importantly, get you to do it for them. Now, in 1940, we can see that they'd reached a point after all the nonsense with the First World War, debauching the aristocracy, that they'd now got this new system, this Jewish system in place across and over Great Britain. And thus the War Cabinet declared in 1940, through Arthur Greenwood, said of the British War Cabinet sends a message of assurance here, writing of wrongs seen, English rabbi delivers to Dr. SSY's new statement on question after the war. And basically what they were saying there, that the New World Order had been pledged to the Jews. But of course, really what that meant were the Jews through the Rothschilds were going to administer the New World Order. The New World Order always belongs to Rome, the empire. Okay? So that had changed tack in 1940. Of course, everybody after the war hadn't got a clue what was going on. They were just happy that there were no more war. So there we have, that's what took place up until, we can say, the 1980s, in a serious move to take it off the real Christian ethos and the move to destroy the family unit. Now, what has happened? He said, we know that the Jews acting under the Red Shield are the trustees for the banking dynasties. The banking dynasties are the Holy See families. The Christian church has been sidelined. It no longer represents Christ, I should say, my apologies, or the anointed of the Heavenly Father. Okay? Don't have to get bogged down in all that nonsense. You just have to know that this guy came and he was being anointed by the heavenly forces to bring back the original law, to put us right. The anointed came at a time when the same game was taking place. So back 2,000 years ago, we can say it was probably as bad as it is today. And so it came at a time when it was required. But bear in mind, in those days, Rome, the empire, was huge. The second temple in Jerusalem was the they were the money lenders, the interest creators, and were controlling many people through finance and debt. So he came at a time when there were a lot of trouble going on. Now, the anointed came at a time when the game was taking place. The earth was given an update to remember the original laws of the real Father, who said, or Jesus said, do not think I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Okay? So that's what he was saying in relation to, listen, you're all off your tits. I've not come here to destroy everything. I've come here to reinstall and remind you of what should be. Okay? A bit like where we're at today. We know that it shouldn't be as it is, but it is as it is. Now, he was admonishing the laws of the Second Temple. He wasn't admonishing Rome. He was admonishing the laws coming out of the Second Temple. And the Second Temple was formed during the captivity in Babylon, right? By the Levites and the Benjamites, and emancipated by the warlord King Cyrus the Great, who was a Persian. So they were taken into captivity by Cyrus's forces. He was a warlord and he was invited into Babylon to take over Babylon so they could remove the old aristocracy and create a new one. So that were all going on there as well. So King Cyrus was a Persian being invited into all areas in Persia so they could reform everything under one military-industrial complex. And that was, so the captives who had reformed this, what we call Torah system with the Talmud, reformed it, we call it the Old Testament. King Cyrus released them, or emancipated them, and allowed them to go and build the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Okay? And that's the temple that the man came to smash to pieces and was successful in doing so. Okay? So that's basically the story then. He was admonishing the laws of the Second Temple and formed during the captivity in Babylon and emancipated by the warlord King Cyrus the Great. Now, who's King Cyrus the Great today? Not because I say so, but because they've been minting coins. That would be President Donald Trump. Okay, that's who they see as the man who's going to emancipate them, meaning he's Mr. Noahide. Okay, he's King Noahide, is Donald Trump. But so is King Biden, Jimmy Savile's vagina, Macron, Trudeau, whoever's running Australia, New Zealand, yeah, Spain, Italy, South America. Yeah? You see, a big part of how they're playing this game and keeping the Vatican in power is because of the ignorance of the South American Catholics. Okay? This is why this schism, this pretense of, oh, look at Elon Musk, he's a fucking hero, is being based around Brazil. You see, they need to censor what's going on around the world from the South American nations, because the last thing that they can afford is for the Catholics in South America to recognise, as are the Western Catholics, that the Vatican corporate state does not represent the Catholic Church, meaning it doesn't represent Christ. So this is why the little puppet Elon Musk, the apostle billionaire to the faceless corporate, is playing this game by pretending and bigging himself up as a fucking hero. He's not an hero, he's an arsewipe, okay? And he censors my Twitter to fucking death. Now, Jesus said, fuck you and kiss my ass. Actually, he didn't say that. That's what I said when I read it. But he was nice and he weren't feral like me and uncouth. He said, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go. Now, he says again, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretence make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. Now, what he's saying there is the same situation we have today. As you begin to understand that what's going on with our law systems, which were originally based in line with the man's gospel, when the church was in line with the gospel, both the Catholic Church and both the Church of England. If you raised yourself or entering that path, the doors would open. But he's saying, ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. They're not fucking letting us in. They're blocking us. You see what I'm saying? So whereas, you know, the priesthoods present this as all some kind of, oh, it's nothing of the fucking sort. It's blood and guts law. Right? And that's what he's saying there. He's basically saying, fuck you, kiss my ass, you're blocking everybody, you asswipes. And you're not even acting in that manner yourselves. You're happy to play this role of shithouse. Now, he didn't say that, I've got to be honest, I said that, okay? So don't be mixing it up now and thinking he were uncouth and feral like me. He weren't, he were a good lad. Now, to shut up the kingdom of heaven means something has been removed, okay? So, of course, we're speaking about Rome. Now, let's just remind ourselves of what the infallibility of the Catholic Church actually meant in its original form, because this has been forgotten. So it says, outside the Catholic Church, there is much misunderstanding about infallibility. Well, actually, I'd say there's been a big misunderstanding within it as well. This is why we're in this mess and why Vatican II went sailing through. It simply means that when the head of the church hands down a decision in regard to Christ's teaching, the decision is true. The Pope cannot teach a new truth, just as the Scriptures Court cannot add to the Constitution. As the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution when it is called in question, so does the Pope interpret the Constitution of the Church, namely Christ's teaching, when it is called in question. The head of the Catholic Church is Christ's representative on earth. Would you expect his representative to misrepresent him? The opinion of an individual judge of the Supreme Court has no binding authority except when it enters into an official decision of the court. So with the Pope, he is Christ's guarantee of infallibility only when solemnly proclaiming the meaning of Christ's teaching. On all matters, he may err like the rest of us. But of course, if the rest of us don't have no ass from his elbow, you don't know whether he's up his ass as well. And this is what they're guaranteeing. And this is why they don't want South America to wake up to what's going on in the West as it stands in relation to this rebellion in the Catholic Church. Because they're not rebelling against the Church. Okay, this is what they're rebelling against. A separation has been achieved. The Vatican corporate state, formed in 1929 by the corporatists or fascists, is what they're called, became the uber power over man by shifting man into the concept human, and all the constructs beholden to that concept, which is person, parent, child, debtor, etc., etc., etc. They're all constructs coming off the concept of the human. Okay? And that concept, as soon as Mum goes to visit Eve, off runs Eve. Oh, we're on the concept. We've got another human in a belly. Okay? And Mother's creation. Now, we're going to have a little look here at Black's Law, 2nd edition. Now, it's important you go through these editions because so many of the words you find in the original ones have been took out in the later ones. It doesn't mean they're not using the same definitions. They are. So, let's just have a little look at child here. But it also includes the word heirs. And remember, Black's Law Dictionary is the black magic book of spells. Okay, that's what it is. And they mimic, because the law society has its own language. Any society can have its own language and its own laws. It's whatever it wants to do, it can do. You're not members of the law society. You're not supposed to be privy to this twisted language. This is how they cast the spells over man. So they've mimicked what was original, you might say, church canon law, and formed it in this way. It says, the word heirs in its natural signification is a word of limitation, and it is presumed to be used in that sense, unless a contrary intention appears. Now, what does that mean? I've made it clear many times in these videos that when you're dealing with these systems, they're coming at you with a presumption and assumption. If you do not rebut the presumption and assumption with sound, solid rebuttals, their presumptions carry. Okay? So that's what that's basically saying. From their perspective, the word heirs in its natural signification is a word of limitation, unless you make it clear. Which is why on the statutory declaration, we present the addressee, who he is, in the private, doing business as. You get him in the private, you get in his corporate title, okay? When we do the addressor, you're describing who you are and your relationship to the trust. Okay? You've rebutted the presumption that you're coming in there as the debtor. Regardless of all the nonsense that's gone on in the background with the paperwork, which is back to what we're saying, they're blocking it. Okay? They're blocking people from coming in. Okay? But the term children, in its natural sense, is a word of purchase. Purchase. Okay? and is to be taken to have been used as such, unless there are other expressions in the will, which doesn't just mean a written will, your will, showing that the testator intended to use it as a word of limitation only. And you look to Sanders' matter of 4-page end, blah, 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 Rogers versus Rogers, and this is in the United States. So this is what we're talking about when he's saying here, you know, it's not, oh, he's basically saying, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven, which is the natural laws inheriting the kingdom within, against men. He doesn't say person, he doesn't say human, he doesn't say child, he doesn't say infant. He says men. Okay? Because the creation of the ultimate is man. Yep. No. Child. This word has two meanings in law. In the law of the domestic relations and as to descent and distribution. It is used strictly as the correlative of parent and means a son or daughter considered as in relation with the father or mother. In the law of negligence and in laws for the protection of children, etc., it is used as the opposite of adult. Adulterer. Remember, you don't want to be an adult. It's an adulterer. All these terms are legal terms, constructs afforded to the human concept. Adult and means the young of the human species. So there you go, child, children, adult, all to do with the human concept. Generally under the age of puberty, without any reference to parentage and without distinction of sex. Okay? This is blacks, remember, that was blacks. Now, in the law of the Latins, now remember Abe Finkelstein. What did he say? We were in there at the beginning and we pushed the Latin on the church. So the Latin comes distinctly from the Latins, which came from the Etruscans, who were the Phoenicians, the god Vatican. These gods that were originally where this Vatican is belong to the Etruscans, who were Phoenicians. So the Etruscans seemed to disappear when Rome was formed, but of course they didn't. They played a big part in it. And Dave Finkelstein made it clear that they pushed the Latin on and in the church. Okay? So in the laws of the Latins, remember what Abe Finkelstein said about his kind pushing Latin upon the early church. The word potestas signifies generally a power or authority by which we do anything. Patria potestas signifies the authority which a father had over his children, grandchildren, and other descendants. There was an almost absolute power over the children by the father, as there is also at the common law. This was not based on ownership as a slave, but as a member of the familia, in which the status of the father would affect the status of the son. An act by which the patria potestas was terminated is called emancipatio or emancipation. Right? Remember, King Cyrus emancipated. The Judahites who built the Second Temple that the man came to demolish. And there's a link to that Abe Finkelstein interview. So important you listen to that interview because Abe Finkelstein is being honest. You might not like what he's telling you, but the man's being honest. Pater familias. The family was and is a political unit. Within the manu of the family, neither the wife nor the husband could sue each other, for they are counted as one person, one body. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So it doesn't say person in its origin, does it? Can you see how they've changed the words? Because, of course, everything that you get from this catechism now is in relation to the construct or concept human. So the original is, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh, not one fucking person. Yeah? Can you see the mimic? This is the mimic. The family was political. They mimic everything. Talk shit, create it in a Bible, make a fuss about it like you're not allowed to read it, when really they want you to read it, because if you read it and understand it, you're going to fall into this mimic. King James Bible being the prime example. Okay? So in its origin, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That's the original order of things under the Heavenly Father. Yeah, you work together, which means then you're not putting your mum and your dad first, you're putting your wife first, and vice versa. The wife does the same. That's when, and that is a power. It's a political unit, okay? And it's powerful. This is why they've had to destroy the family unit. A family working correctly is a very powerful, potent unit. It's unbreakable. Unbreakable. Okay, and that's Genesis. The child is bound within the manu of the family. The manus is a Latin word for the power of the pater familias over his wife and his sons' wives. Even in its prior history, manu is a Sanskrit word, meant the primordial father of the human race and sovereign of the earth. So again, you're seeing it's the construct, this shit. The construct in a human fucking race. Okay? And sovereign of the earth, which is, they mix it up. They mix it up. And it's Sanskrit, okay? All this stuff comes out of India, you know. The Aryans, who went into Persia, which is why the Holy See families claim origin from Persia. Iran, they're actually, whoever it were that went into India. Yeah? These concepts fundamentally reach into the antiquity of man's history and are only supplanted by the twisted thoughts of a usurping substitute for God's plan. So this mimic is usurping the original laws, and this is exactly what the Second Temple were doing, and why we had an update through the man Jesus. He was only bringing forward and reminding us of the original laws. In the claim that the Vatican corporate state is one family, which it does, the trustees of the new trust, the Noahide Ark, are once again going against the Heavenly Father and twisting the plan of the Creator. They need your consent, be that ignorant or not. God dispersed dominion among the fathers of mankind. Even with Jesus, he established no office of father to rule man en mess. Okay? So, God gave you as a father of the family the dominion, not one ultimate. This is where you can see that no religion was formed through the words or work of the man. He wasn't creating this great body of religion because the Heavenly Father doesn't sanction it. He sanctions it in the family. That's the political unit. And you're supposed to get along with your neighbours. So these families have no real need to fight. You would be working together. So even Jesus established no office of father to rule man en masse. He didn't. A child is within that power until the father releases him or is released from life itself. There is no right of usurpation by any. What happens in the temples of the Hospitallers is the question. Okay? Because this is where it's all going on in this concept of the human. What happens in the temples of the Hospitallers or the hospitals? Knights Hospitallers temples, remember that, people. Now Eve, the midwife, tempts the earthly father to eat of the fruit of the womb as a product of the concept, the human, and signs away the offspring into the hands of the temple corporate. the family name becomes a surname. Yeah? So your patronymic, as it's called, the family name, upon the signing away of your offspring by the father and the midwife, your patronymic becomes a surname which belongs to this mimic that claims to be the Holy Father. Okay? But it belongs to the corporate Vatican state because it's all commerce, or Caesar, not the church. Okay? There is a separation. This is the trust that is formed by deception. And who is the great deceiver? Well, no matter which culture you come from, the deceiver and deceiving lies with Satan, which is why Muslims really need to read the book. Okay? You need to read your book because you understand the concept that the great deceiver is Satan. Read your book and comprehend it instead of running around on emotion and bullshit and belief. Then you know where you're at. The hospital is incorporated by the state and operated by persons with state employee identification numbers. The doctors and nurses are all licensed professionals acting as agents of the state. The parents bring their unborn child to the corporate altar, which then, through their agents, signs the child over to the state. Generation after generation is born in subject status for the sole purpose of feeding and energizing the body of the state. This is a threefold process of abdication through novation, novation deed or deed of novation, tutor and korban, by ignorance. The natural fathers and patriarchs of each household bound their sons and daughters into the power of the patronus of the state. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and the threefold cord is not quickly broken. Yeah, so that's mother and father. If they stuck together. So this is the first move at breaking up the family, getting this in. Now, the old school interpretations of novation is the remodeling of an old obligation, Webster's dictionary. Right, so that's a deed, an novation deed. So you could say a counter deed also is a part of that. So get into that novation. Understand it. It's out there online. Tutor, eret dep, also a tutor, or to protect, watch, keep, guard against. And korban, bringing closer to the originator or father, even a substitute father, which is, yeah, the Holy Father. Because he's not. He's the one that's come in and interceded, created a construct, and deceived you into joining in through Eve, the midwife, in the case of this. So Eve is a temptress that you can use in many different formats, many different ways in which you're being encouraged to do things contrary to your own standing, you might say. The child is incapable in his private rights of any power or dominion. In every other respect, he is capable of legal rights. The child has a capacity for acquiring legal rights. He could acquire by contract, for instance, but everything that he acquires is acquired for his father. Without emancipation, the child was not free of his father's power and was also not sui juris. In Latin, the words are from sui, meaning of one's own, and juris, the genitive of jus, meaning right or law. Okay? And this is what they're blocking, remember. When you reach and get to that point, they're blocking it, which is exactly what he decried. Only the patriarch of the family is sui juris. The first civil government based their civil powers on the law of the family. The individual citizen would be able to acquire legal rights by contract, but would not be sui juris. Now, because we're signing them over to this fake father, We're not sui juris, he is. Yeah? Vicarious pater. In Roman law, Caesar's rights to authority or dominion over subject citizenry as emperor stem from his position as the vicarious pater, or substitute father. The emperor, as father of the country, was one of the few men who was sui juris, as that system devolved into its centralised imperial position. The authority of the Imperium of Rome was at least twofold. Originally, its merum was only outside the warlord jurisdiction and conferred by a lex curatia, and came from the power of the sword to turn the life of wicked men. This is the military or police power of each man. So we all have that power. You know, your right to defend your home, defend your family, your castle. There it is, from any wicked men. Now, these immigrants are clearly showing the wicked men. People that are in here now trying to subvert this country are clearly wicked men. By rights of our natural law, afforded to us by the Heavenly Father, we can use the sword against them without recourse, either temporal or spiritual. So no guilt would be required. Murder's a different thing, but to kill to protect your family from anybody classed as a wicked man or breaking or making to do harm, subversion or damage, so that's all these invading forces, we, under the Heavenly Father, have the right to do as we please with them. Kill them is basically what that's telling you. Okay? That's the game. And Jesus didn't speak against that either. Okay? Because he was bringing forward the laws from natural law from within that we were given as an innate knowledge before they programmed you the shit out of you from you being a baby, regardless of what culture you come from. Let's have a look. See, man, each man. As soon as you become a person, no. Then you're governed by this fake father who's got all his own rules. Yeah? His rules are playing out there. Imperium within the walls, mixtum, was incident to jurisdiction, jurisdictio, established by application, contract, or some nexus. In time, they both merged. The office of Imperium was vested by the people in the Imperator, which means Commander-in-Chief, America. As this office expanded during civil conflicts and fear, it merged with the office of Apotheos, which was literally the appointer of gods. So you're right back to Babylon now, Sumeria, city gods. Elohim. Okay? These gods were simply the magistratus or judex imperium. They were court judges and those administering the courts throughout the ordered world of the Pax Romana. The same is true of government today. In that world, at the time of the Roman Empire, as in America today, there was a dual system of citizenship. See, citizen versus citizen. Many men sought to seek emancipation from the rule of the imperium, but were and are thwarted by a failure to understand the universal authority of the vicarious pater. The modern civil powers are no different. In Roman and American history, the family decayed. Okay, so as the family decayed, this imposter father got more and more power. The law, can you understand why these bloodlines keep the family? Yeah? But again, they've already tied in with this guy. This is why they've got the titles. This is why they've got the land, the kings, the princes, the princesses. Yeah, they're all sucking the shit out of this fake gig. The modern civil powers are no different. In Roman and American history, the family decayed, and with it, a dissipation of freedom and liberty. See, when you lose the ability to protect your family, yourself and your property, by whatever means necessary, there is no freedom. And you're handing it over then. Oh, you do it for me. Will you do it? Will you do it, Mr. State? Give me some benefits. Put a police force out there. Yeah, I'll sign up. You can do what you want. You can take me children if you want. You can take me stuff if you want. You can take everything I've got and say I don't own anything and I'll be happy. That's fine. That's the end product of this game. The lawful effect of emancipation was to make the emancipated person become sui juris within God's construction of the family. Husband and wife are one, and they held the imperium. This right and responsibility was too sacred to be manumitted with casual abandonment. A legal process was devised involving a patron or civil patronus, a nation's father. Cain, Nimrod, and Caesar wished to be free of God's family plan, or control it for themselves. Okay? So that's basically what you're looking at when you see all this. Ooh, you've got two options. You go with the plan, or you're a greedy piece of shit and you want power down here. It's that simple. And it's been going on for so many thousands of years. If you want to do that, there's an egregore there in the unseen you can tap into. They'll give you power in the unseen. Until eventually the age stops, it gets collapsed down, it starts again. No more egregore, everything's gone. You start afresh. That's what happens. Them are the cycles of man. The Latin word pater means father. As we have seen, the word was used as a title of the emperor, and before him, the proconsul was referred to as the father of the senate, and therefore the empire. Pater or patri was also a form of address in reference to the senators of Rome. The Romans developed an elected congress to introduce the proposed bills for the enfranchised citizenry, who were subject to the statutes of men. This congress was called the Patris Conscripti, the conscripted fathers. Now, Muslims are the same. Your Grand Mufti and all that, they're the great fathers. The Jews are the same. Your Grand Rabbi, your Mashiach, these are your fathers, the false fathers. So it's no use all like they do, going, oh, it's all Rome's fault. No, you're all following the same process, the same gig. Just you've got slight differences, of course, so you can make yourself different and claim that you're better than the other. You're all systems based on this false idea, which means you're going against the original plan. Jesus said, "And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven." Can't get any clearer than that. So no church or system or religion can say, Jesus said, this is his church, because he fucking didn't. So that's a lie. But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenant. Okay? As ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Have we not all one Father? And that's Malachi. Yeah? So he came to fulfill the law, our chap. And he was doing that because you can find what he was saying before. Yeah, but ye are departed of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Well, you will if you're going to create your own language and fuck everybody like they do. Ye have corrupted the covenant, as ye have not kept my ways, but have been partial in the law. Meaning, come and join us and you can be your best mate. Freemasonry. Come and join the judiciary, will be your best mate. Yeah, solicitors, lawyers, judges. Come and join our corporation, you can be our best mate, we'll protect you. Councillors, MPs, CEOs. Yeah? You're unclean and you're cursed. And you might have it all good down here as you think, but God, you know, I just smile because I know what's coming for you. And I don't give a shit. I wouldn't weep one tear because everything you do and everything that's coming to you in this life or the next, you've earned it. Every single bit of it, you've earned it. You go against the big cheese at your own peril. That's the data and information that we've lost by, you know, they made it so. You lose sight of what is, you can only see what they offer on the platter, the gravy train. You lost, and one day you're gonna reap what you've sown. And they said, Now this is interesting. Remember again, this is Exodus. And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock. Now, what he's saying there is this Egyptian was in tune with the heavenly waters, and he gave of those waters to his flock, meaning the people. But an Egyptian delivered them out of the hand of the shepherds. And the shepherds were the Hyksos, those of Abraham. Okay? Not some godly Israelite anything. This guy was a representative of the same mimic. The Hyksos are the shepherd kings. They keep animals. Okay, that's why they use the term flock. Now keep this in mind, this purple here, for later. Okay? The Hyksos are the shepherd kings. They keep animals. Right? Keep this in mind, it's important. So you get the picture. Now we're going to look at what is a human through various definitions. Now, you've all heard, haven't you, that the human is defined as a monster? Well, it is, from Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, okay, in 1948 edition. From Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, 1948 edition, human being is defined as follows. See monster. From the same dictionary, monster is defined a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. The animals went in two by two, hurrah, hurrah, fucking Noah's Ark. Noahide Ark, the new fucking trust. You're going in as animals, guys. Wake the fuck up, you fucking Zionists, you dipsticks in America. Wake up to what Donald Trump is. Wake up to what Biden is. There are no leaders out there in the world today not a part of this bullshit ark. None of them. Resembles a lower animal. You need to start looking at the Agriculture Act to get an idea of how you're being seen by this system. Okay? Why the term farmer isn't what you think. Yeah? It's a legal term. This is an unusual definition, but like all law dictionaries on this subject, a non-definition. It only states what a human being is, a higher animal. And it's not found anywhere in Scripture that a Christian man or woman is an animal or part of the animal kingdom. This being the case, then what exactly is a human being? Yeah, well, it's not talking about a man or a woman, is it? It's talking about a human. Can you see how they try and obfuscate it? Okay? Or it doesn't mean what it means. Yeah, it does. It means exactly that, a shade of man. So it's not talking about a man or a woman. It's talking about a human, which means person, infant, parent, child, debtor, etc. Yeah, prisoner. Yeah, bondage, slave. All these terms, not man or woman, but they obfuscate it because people are not paying attention to what they're reading. Okay, so there you've got it. And then they try to obfuscate it. And if you're not smart, you wouldn't see that that's what that second paragraph is. An obfuscation that does not in any way take anything away from that first paragraph. Okay? And when you know the Noahide system, the first paragraph is exactly the fact of the matter. From the Oxford New English Dictionary of 1901, human as defined as belonging or relative to man, as distinguished from God or superhuman beings, pertaining to the sphere or faculties of man, with implication of limitation or inferiority, mundane, secular, often opposed to divine. So that tries to water it down somewhat by belonging to a relative of man. Okay, but look, often opposed to divine. If you're opposed to divine, you're classed as a wicked man. And they're allowed to hit you by sword. decapitation, Shriners. You see it on the fucking little skirts. That's the symbolism. Sword to the wicked man, but on their terms. And as soon as you identify as the human, you've moved into their terms, in their little twisted fucking game. They're like infants, these kids. These people have never grown up. You know, you see them in the righty-tight cars, the castles, the palaces. Basically what they are is infants that have never grown up because they've never needed to, because they've had everything handed to them on a plate. After they got bum stupid, sodomised when they were little, which is the way they do the damage to the baby in order to, like the Spartans did. The Spartans would sodomise the boy at 3 to 4. It creates a major anger in the child or the boy. They then massage that angry character, and if they can turn it into the warrior, all well and good. If the act breaks the child, they threw him off the cliff. That's what happened. That's how the Spartans created these super warriors. First create the angst in this absolute anger at what's just happened to them at age 3, and then manipulate that negative character. That's what they do. They've been doing it forever. That's what paedophilia is about. From an occult perspective, that's why they've been doing it forever. That's why they do it. They create that anger in the boy, and then if they can manipulate it to their own ends, away they go. And that's what happens to broken boys. Women tend to go submissive. So if they want slaves for sex slaves and mules and things like that, they'll do it to the females. Yeah, everything has a reason. It's not just for some sexual gratification. It is at the bottom end of it, but it isn't. There's a cult form. There's a method to it all and reason why they do it. So next time you watch the film 300, remember that. Here we go. Secular being the important word here. Is it? Oh, I'm not so sure secular is the important word, actually. Do you see how they're obfuscating? We look to the multi-definitions in the 1992 Random House Webster's College Dictionary. Secular, adjective 1, of or pertaining to worldly things or to things not regarded as sacred. Okay, it probably does, but it's a move off, opposed to divine. Yeah, isn't it? Can you see how they do this? They obfuscate with words and blag you. Each time they do it, it just takes that little bit away, until you're not seeing that actually what they see it as in its real terms is opposed to divine, meaning you're a wicked man. Yeah. Temporal. 2, not relating to or concerned with religion, opposed to sacred. Well, fucking religion's not sacred, is it? Can you see how this is their twisted system? They've made this up. It's got nothing to do with the Heavenly Father. It's got nothing to do with Jesus because he didn't create a church. But they've determined temporal means opposed or not concerned with religion, specifically. And the fruitcakes think it's it. Oh, it's so fucked up. And it is the language. It's all about the language. Concerned with non-religious subjects. No, you're not temporal if you don't give a shit about religion. You're spiritual if you're looking for spiritual things. So again, it's part of the construct. It's the mumbo-jumbo. Not belonging to a religious order, not bound by monastic vows. So if you're not one of their ultimate slaves, you're classed as temporal, not sacred, and therefore a wicked man. Can you see how the twisted logic works? But they believe it. Could it be that human means ungodly? Damn right it does. But God being a misnomer, of course, is they're saying, well, he doesn't like me. This is Caesar, Nimrod, Cain saying, well, he doesn't fucking like me, so he's a bad one. I'm classing him as a wicked man. And everybody that backs him up agrees. It has nothing to do with the Heavenly Father, the laws within, the kingdom within. Nothing at all. You've got to start to see it in these terms, people. From the same dictionary, I look at a combination of the two. Secular humanism, any set of belief that promotes human values without specific allusion to religious doctrines. And, which is natural, because the religious doctrines apply to humans. Monsters. In sin. Wicked men. That need to be bound by these systems because they've accepted they're in sin and need to be bound. Can you see by its consent, right back to the beginning? Can't be subjugated by force, but you can by consent. And once you've consented, if you're not obeying by their system, it's not that you're disobeying the Heavenly Father, the kingdom within, the laws, the natural laws within. No, you're disappointing the club, the clique, the cult, the order. You're a wicked man. Out with the sword. Yep. You digging this? Secularism, one secular spiritual tendency, especially a system of political and social philosophy that rejects all forms of religious faith or worship. Specifically, religious faith or worship. Jesus never said worship him. He said follow me. That's what he said. Religion uses the term worship. And yet the no-hide system is going to chop your head off, decapitate you illegally for, as they've claimed in the club, the clique, the cult, worshipping a false idol. Because, of course, Jesus in their club is a false idol because he was telling you, fuck the club, Daddy says. But, of course, he was nice. He didn't say that. I said it. The view that public education and other matters of civil policy should be conducted without the influence of religious beliefs. You see, can you see, if they decide moral beliefs, that'd be a different tale. It'd have an all different meaning. But no, it's specific to the word religious faith or worship. It's the mimic, not anything to do with Jesus, it's not anything to do with the Heavenly Father. Because then we'll be talking about moral, not religious faith and worship. This is why we've got lost. This is why we are where we are. And hanging on to all this nonsense is not going to change anything for you. It's just going to fix you to that timeline, wherever that's going. The view that... Right, I've done that. In conjunction with this, from Collier's New Dictionary of the English Language, 1928, humanitarian is defined a philanthropist. What do we know about philanthropists? Gates, Rockefeller, Soros. Yeah, we know what philanthropy they're carrying out. And anti-Trinitarian, who rejects the doctrine of Christ's divinity. Perfectionist. Okay? So they're telling you there basically it's anti-Christ. Humanitarian. It's an anti-Christ concept. So what the fucking Vatican's doing with it, or the church, is telling. But I say again, it's not the church, it's the Vatican, which is a corporate state run by the Holy See. Or, as I put a video up on the Facebook this week, there's a group inside the Vatican called Solidarity, according to an ex-mafia guy. Interesting, you might want to go to my Facebook and have a look at that. I put it up earlier in the week. You might have to go further down a bit, because I got a bit excited a couple of days ago and put quite a few things up. From the above Random House Dictionary, humanitarian is defined the doctrine that humankind may become perfect without divine aid. Can you see how it's all off? Humankind. It's showing you if you're looking. With no definition of human being in law, Melinkoff's Dictionary of American Legal Usage, 1992, defines person as a human being without regard to sex, legitimacy, or competence. Well, we know what a human being is because the Catechism of the Catholic Church tells us what it is. And it is defined in law through personage. Because it has to give them the rights of person. So with no definition of human being in law, where's that fucking come from? Some deflection. It's garbage. Can you see? You've got to use discernment in everything you study. in everything you watch, in everybody you listen to. You know, you can't just run on garbage. If you find something interesting, you've got to find its root to show that it's real. Then you can use it. Don't just run on shit that people put out on these videos. You're going nowhere. This person is the central figure in law, is as elsewhere characterised by personal attributes of mind, intention, feeling, weakness, morality common to human beings, with rights and duties under the law of contract that it missed out there. This is the person sometimes called an individual, and often referred to in law as a natural person, as distinguished from an artificial person. Of course, morality common to human beings is not explained, because that would reveal much. Again, in Shawmut Bank, NA versus Valley Farms, it states, for purpose of statute protecting certain property from post-judgment remedies, and therefore from pre-judgment attachment, natural person means human being. It states for purpose of, not artificial or juristic person. You, as flesh and blood, as a human, not man, male or female. So if a natural person and human being are considered the same in law, let's take a closer look at what a natural person is. As you may know, all government codes, rules and regulations only attach to corporations, partnerships and natural persons. In American law, it seems that the definition of natural person does not exist. To get any idea of what natural person is, we have to go to English law. In the 17th century, Lord Coke differentiated between natural persons and moral persons in a community in the following statement from his Institutes. We must observe that a state is defined by civilians and the capacity of moral persons, for as natural persons have a certain space in which their natural existence is placed, and in which they perform their natural actions. So if persons in a community of a certain state or capacity in which they are supposed to exist, to perform their moral acts and exercise all civil relations. And that's 6.9. With natural man being the same as natural person, we find further evidence of exactly what a human being is. From the above Random House Dictionary, page 901, natural adjective 17, natural man, unenlightened or unregenerate. You see, as soon as you put two words together, it changes the original meanings of both words. It's man, nothing else. Not good-looking man, ugly man, black man, brown man, red man. It's man under the creation. It's humans that create all these other words to put in front of it. I'm a black man. I'm a white man. I'm a this, I'm a that. Fuck this, fuck that. Yeah, you do it to your fucking selves. And then cry about me. I'm only labelling me. It's disgusting. Yeah, well, you're a dick. What do you expect? You're a wicked man. Or female. From the same dictionary, 1461, unregenerate. Not regenerate, unrepentant. An unrepentant wicked man. An unregenerate person. Unconvinced by or unconverted to a particular religion, sect or movement. Wicked, sinful, dissolute. Yeah, off with their decapitation in a legal standing. And for some, probably, to get sent to Arabia, they like chopping heads off there, don't they? Stoning you, chopping your heads off. As long as you don't go to India, they like to shag you to death. Have you seen some of these videos? It's disgusting. Absolutely outrageous. In conjunction with this, from the Shorter Oxford English Dictionary 1933, naturalism is defined as a system of morality or religion having a purely natural basis, a view of the world and of man's relationship to it. See, can you see how the interplay man-person confuses the fruitcake? And it does confuse them. In which only the operation of natural as opposed to supernatural or spiritual laws and forces is assumed. A naturalist is defined as one who follows the light of nature, as contrasted with revelation. Now they go, pagans, pagan, no, fucking pagan. Usually, as soon as somebody says the word nature, oh, it's like, okay, no, these people tapped. They're obviously people that don't go out to countryside. City dwellers. And of course, the scriptures being the final authority confirms all of the above. At 1 Corinthians 13:14. But the natural man receiveth not the thing of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Well, who put the word natural in? See, you don't want that, it's man. Man. Not natural man, thick man, black man, pink man. Because I am more of a shit pink. White, really, being honest about it. Don't be calling me a girlie or anything like that. Therefore, when a Christian calls him or herself a human being, they are saying, I am an animal, I am non-religious, I am unrepentant, I am wicked, sinful and dissolute. And the church says, if your first name is I am Christian, your surname belongs to the fucking church. What kind of Christian is that? What is it? I'm able to do things and be perfect without Jesus Christ. I'm true to man's law rather than God's law. Yes, and you're also the debtor to this entire system because it's your estate instead of funding it. Thank fuck there's a fucking rebellion amongst the Catholics. Are you seeing? Because this is the Vatican corporate state. The Church of England is about to be handed over to it. It's the Secretary of States that are running this in each nation. And there you have a link to the Roman court proceedings, which is highlighted in many parts for you to peruse. Under what laws have all the immigrants being thrust around the globe in the last 79 years? Would that be human rights? We're being invaded with fucking monsters. Who runs it? Vatican. It runs monsters. It's shoving monsters all over the fucking world. Because they're all coming in. Human rights, human rights. They're admitting to be monsters. Wicked men. We could chop their fucking heads off. God's it. What bloc holds sway over English and Scottish laws presently? Would that be European human rights laws? Yes, it would. The judiciary are terrified of them. Why? Because all these fucking immigrant monsters are coming in, giving human rights, human fucking rights. Ooh, it's just making a bit of a different picture now, isn't it? Can you see? It's a different tale altogether. We're being invaded by monsters. What supranational body is the European Union locked in its grip? Only the United Nations. Now, this is an interesting gig, and of course, I'll put the documents up under this video. This is the United Nations Handbook on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics System. Now, in the document, it's highlighted in the important points, but of course, I've put some in here. I've not gone too silly on it because there's a lot. But again, important stuff. The judicial function of civil registration is to register the occurrence of acts and events that constitute the source of civil status and to issue certificates. Such events are called vital events. Live birth. The complete expulsion or extraction from its mother of a product of conception, irrespective of the duration of pregnancy, which after such separation breathes or shows any other evidence of life, such as beating of the heart, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles. product of conception is what the United Nations is administering. And what is the product of conception? Human. Not man, human. Okay, now you can see what this UN is. Marriage, according to the UN. The act, ceremony or process by which the legal relationship of spouses is constituted. Not lawful under God, legal under the monster king, the monster father. The legality of the union may be established by civil, religious or other means as recognised by national laws. Countries may wish to expand this definition to cover civil unions. If they are registered, a registered partnership usually refers to a legal construct, registered with the public authorities according to national laws, and which leads to legal conjugal obligations between two persons. How the fuck two pieces of paper are having conjugal obligations? And more to the point, the UN is demanding it has power over telling you what conjugal obligations you have. How twisted is this? It's the United Nations, all your government's sucking it up. Especially that old Bolshevik, fucking what's he called? That tit that they all pretend they don't like in Labour. I forgot his name, Corbyn. He's obsessed with the United Nations. You think he's a good lad? 69 on that is information about place of residence is an important part of population register. This is why they need where's your place of residence, not where's your home. See how it's all the terms that we know is evil with this legal system. This is what the United Nations is controlling. Civil registration, identity management and vital statistics. 79. While there is no intentionally agreed definition of identity management, the term most commonly refers to the issuance of proof or legal tender of identity to individuals. So, your birth certificate is legal tender. Okay? And they're blocking you. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. Yeah? Back to that. You see? This is all Antichrist stuff. In that context and in line with the principles and recommendations, the essential purpose of civil registration is to furnish legal instruments of direct interest to individuals. To furnish legal instruments. That's what this is about. Consequently, in contemporary paradigm, civil registration provides both the certification of identity for a newborn child and critical entry of the child's identity. Child, remember, structure of the concept. It's to do with man and God. By its very nature, the civil registration function in terms of its legal implications is still distinct because its procedures for issuing legal tenders related to the civil status of individuals require adequate and strict protocols. Again, issuing legal tenders. It's all commerce. And you're the animals. The underlying logic of the models in the civil registration of vital statistic systems that were developed in a number of countries at the end of the 20th century is that the occurrence of all vital events, such as births and deaths and all relevant characteristics, is reported by the authorised and responsible institution to the Civil Registration Authority, which verifies the actual occurrence of the event and the identities of persons involved, and officially registers the occurrence of the event and issues a certificate that is legal tender. Your birth certificates are legal tender. They're blocking you. You don't know how to use it. We don't know how to use it. They're blocking. Woe to ye, Pharisees and scribes. Back again we go to the man. No, ooh, it's not that. It's this. This is what he was saying. Fuck this shit. Well, he didn't say that. I said it. In this model, assignment of a PIN to each newborn child and retirement of the PIN of each deceased person by flagging the PIN or changing its status from living to deceased is the function of the civil registration component. Personal identification number. It's all numbers. It's all accounting and banking. Now, further information on identity management systems, see the CRVS e-learning course available at... Get ready for this. Okay? So for more information on that diatribe, I forget where you have to go. World Bank. Only World Bank, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone has the right to be recognised as a person before the law. Well, you'll not find the word everyone in my calling. I have nothing to do with everyone. A couple once said that to me. Well, everyone. I said, well, I'm not everyone. And somebody said, do you think you're special? I said, I am special. Don't know, fuck them. Everyone's right to be recognised as a person before the law. That is enshrined in Article 6 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and reaffirmed in several other global accords and international human rights instruments. Human rights, people! You don't want to be anywhere near it. And there's an addendum to that. There's the UN handbook with highlights for you to peruse for yourself. Now, there's more information here just for you to expand on child and children. You'll be surprised. From Black's Law, 2nd edition. So Christians connected to the church are the creditors for this shit. The World Bank. Christian connected to the Vatican corporate state are the debtors. And Francis is a shepherd of the animals. Remember I said, remember the purple? Ain't a pope of the church. He's a Ixos shepherd. And then I've just reminded you again about the surname side of thing with the general audience for the Pope in 2014. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes tonight's diatribe. But very interesting information and required, especially if you're interested in the ecclesiastical. How you would sort of subvert the claim to concept. You have to come off human. And all the constructs that come from it. Now, we're working on that at the moment, just to get it absolutely correct. It's interesting, but, you know, I think you can see what we're saying there. Now, I'll whiz through what you've said, guys, because we're plumbing out 2.5 hours. I don't want to keep you any longer than you want, but of course you can always re-watch it, which is interesting. No sound sorted yet. Back again now. Blah 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 blah. Big E not performing well tonight. Who among us is without flaw? Absolutely, cheers, Big E. 41 watching. Please press the like button, peeps. Thanks, Lorraine. You're a diamond. I love you. And it's big trouble next week if they haven't listened to you. Of all of them, the detention. Unless you bring me an apple. Space Hopper Mark says, evening, Space Hopper Mew gives it laughing. Jerry, all fictional titles, fictional world. The concept, under the colony of man, or colour of man rather. Mew says, round about 1850 is when Jason as a phoenix reset. Mark Hawkford, 1764, it was Mew, then 1902. Everyone 38, is it not? Ulick, the eugenics movement. Yes, they are 138 years apart. That's not what Claudio rings. Jerry says, depends on events, Mew. Can you be a fraction of or a greater than? Stocks and bonds, says Jerry. Johnny Rotten's meaning of life. Johnny. Mean Jerry. Right, here we go. But the nuclear family, and that is our job to stop them in the same way. Kieran says, queer hawks. Okay, not getting that. Young global leaders, yep. Adam and Eve, one flesh. I must have emailed you a Finkelstein video. Okay. Adam formed out of clay, says benefactor. What did Bush say about the concept, a big idea, a real chance of a new world order? Yes, he did. Thank you, Mew, says Lorraine. Happy camper evening all. Evening to you, happy camper. Babylon floating overlay. Recycling says, yes, Sean, and the good folk of the Wise Asylum. Solvermist gives it the gigs. Hello, Solvermist. Jerry says, woe unto ye holders of the keys. Kieran says, I'm part horse. Oh, what do they call him? I forgot what they call it. A centaur. He's a centaur, is out, Kieran. Some set of Delph on you. Some set of Delph. Says, Jerry, have they took the tip into me sock? Says Kieran. One Father, one Heaven equals Heavenly Father. Late again, after watch replay, grr, says David. No problem, David. Benefactor, the given name, first name, is baptized. I wrote to the Archbishop to remove me from the baptism register for help with removal. Contact Sean. Exactly, all persons held equal under law. Keyword person, no respect of persons. That's right. We went through a video and I pulled out about 12 points of biblical terms saying clearly the Heavenly Father does not respect persons. I don't think you can deregister baptism. You can, Hunted. Yeah, you can do. They will take it off if you ask them. Kieran says, we're an awful bunch of people. We are a bit, aren't we? Everybody's running around going, oh, fantastic, amazing! But you're not really. Who holds the baptism certificate? Do you have a certified copy of it? Well, your parish does. Where are we there? Hunted. Sorry. Man unkind. I, man, require immediate restoration of property. I'm not sure about that. We're an awful bunch of people, yeah, I was about there. Hunted, I don't trust Richard Rose or the participants he features. Their version of the truth doesn't align with mine. That is full of shit. They're leading you down crazy paths, man. Spot on, Sean. It's what we've been discussing for months. It is. Hunted, I just mean in the comments on the vote channel. Who holds the baptism certificate? Do you have a certified copy of it? Sausage Fingers is the control of the UN. All the other royal households for the first time ever were present at Chip's coronation and named him Supreme Royal. I don't know that that's correct, but I don't know. I don't know what his position is. We knew more about Queen Elizabeth than where he's actually at, apart from the fact that the Rothschilds told him what to do. Hunted, you are correct to ask questions. Repeated dead ends seem to be popping up a lot as new people discover their life as being a thing. I might ditch my Christian name and be known by my surname twice. Well, is it a Christian name or is it just your name? It's your calling, isn't it? I mean, think back to when your kids... What you call? What's he called? What have you called him, love? What have you called him, cock? I've called him Albert, love. Oh, what a lovely name, says Gladys. You know what I'm saying? It weren't what's his name, it were what have you called him? So it's your calling, isn't it? You don't have to use their terms. You've just got to be clever with how you do it yourself. It's no rules. There's nothing says you have to use their rules. If you're rebutting, you can use, as long as the main points of rebuttal are hit, and you're not using words that are ambiguous. Or, if you're using words that are ambiguous, you put it in your interpretations of what you mean in this use of this word in this communication. If you do your next letter and you use the same word, you can, as long as you put it in interpretations, you can give it another meaning. It doesn't matter. You've got to see it in this way where you have the power to be creative with it. You don't have to get... They're fixed to systems, as it were. Once you know the system and the tricks, then you're not actually fixed to any systems. You've got to pinpoint the rebuttals on point, as it were, for whatever it is you're doing. But you're not going by any rules. As long as you use a word that could be ambiguous, just put it in your interpretations. Now, I've started putting human in the interpretations because I'm using it in the addressor, descriptive. And I'm stating about the CCC's concept of a human. And I'm already doing it. So, we shall see. I'm a person, Your Honour. No. I've heard that baptismal certificates are stored in the vaults of the Vatican. You could be the person solving this instead of a man's man. So removing from a local register wouldn't remove the certificate from the Vatican. Well, actually, I don't know. What do you think, benefactor, to that? I don't actually know, but they will remove it from the parish register. There is actually a note out where Francis says you've got time if you want to remove yourself from it. He has said it in a letter. I don't know whether it were a motu proprio or just an audience. I don't know, but I've seen it. He said it. I've probably got it somewhere. If I can find it, I'll pick it out for next week. Where are we? Let's make like sheep and get the flock out of here. Oh my goodness me. Swear words at this time of night on a Sunday. Hunted, in which location were you baptised? Brilliant, Sean, and thanks to all the chat. You're welcome, Jerry. William is talking a bowl of shite again. I think that's all he ever does. They get the up to some Longhead. Billy the Shagger Longhead. Solvorb's doing the handshake with Devlin. Did a funny video mocking it. Devlin had a jibe at me afterwards. Did he now? I understand and know this. I would like to know how you can live as a free man, because anything you want to do with the system will block you. Nobody talking about this, how you manage. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, you get reversion, then it should support your subsistence. And then you've got to get clever. You'd have to be cute. It's not a case of you can... I mean, that's the way that system's got people on it, is because it's offered up everything, meaning you can sit there, fat folk, watch telly. That's not what we're here for. It's not just a case of, oh, that's it, I can sit on my laurels there and do fuck all. For one, it won't pay for your fun and your games. It'll pay your subsistence. So there's no... You see, that's another thing as well. So many people are looking for, I want 14 million quid so I can sit on my fat fucking ass and do fuck all. That's the wrong attitude, isn't it? What it is you want to take command of what is yours in their system already. But they're blocking it. They're blocking. They're going out of the way to block, as he said back then. I understand and know this will be how you live. Yeah, but yes, Jerry, it's better than getting fleeced by the Vatican. Solving this, thanks, Sean. You're welcome, sir. Cheers, Sean and chat. I'll be in next time week. Okay, Hunted, forgive me. Richard Bob's not my following. Thanks, Sean. Cheers, Sean. Blah, 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 blah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say thanks for joining me. Thanks for taking part. And mods, thanks for modding. So we get another week of good weather before we get stuck down into autumn and it gets cold. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will say as always, till the next time.
electronic